What's going on, guys? It's your guy, Professor O, coming through with a dose of that good yolk. I'm everywhere like broken glass, from around like a circle. Anyway, anyhow, let's get down to this rhyme. Now, today I want to talk about being optimal. Now, what does that mean? Being optimal means you're really choosing the most favorable position or the most favorable desired circumstance in your situation, right? Meaning pretty much, all right, what would be an example of this, right? How can I give a perfect example of what's being optimal? I would say being optimal would be, because now, you know I'm long-winded, but we're still gonna get to it. See, it's interesting because now optimal means choosing, having the most favorable desired result, right? But if you look at the words favorable and desired, those are very opinionated, because what's favorable to me may not be favorable to you, and what's desired to me may not be desired to you. So it really depends on what do you feel would be optimal to your circumstance. But instead of looking at this in an opinionated basis, let's look at the other term of optimization, meaning choosing the most adequate desired result, right? I don't know if that's good. Let's just say, what would be a good term? I would say having the most efficient result. That would be optimal. Let's use that definition instead of the etymological definition. Let's speak connotatively instead of denotatively. Optimal would be having the most efficient result, period. Now, having the most efficient result would mean getting the most out of a situation, covering all corners, covering all bases. Everything is pretty much in your control, not in control, but it's in your covering. It's been covered, been controlled. It's now up to have all of your whatever. I don't even know what I'm saying, right? I don't know. As long as you get it. Anyway, anyhow, let's get down to this round now. You know I got the handy dandy notebook in the spot, don't make it hot. Clearly, who still writes the script? Clearly your boy still buzz. Still buzz. Look at me, I'm over here tongue twisted. Still does. Don't hate me because you ain't me. You already know what's going on. You maybe need to appreciate, never deviate. Let me mean you levitate and meditate. It is what it is, but let's get down to it. Can you dig what I'm saying? I think you can. All right, let's get down to this round. Don't beat around the bush, saves time. Being optimal, literally, and I mean by that. And this isn't for everybody, because again, you got to understand how you're speaking to individuals. Because, you know, the golden rule would always be treat people the way you like to be treated. Then there's the platinum rule, treat people the way they like to be treated. Because at the same time, you may overly extend yourself treating someone or something, a situation that they may not truly comprehend, or the situation may not actually warrant that type of attention. And I mean by that is the fact that some individuals don't understand a high quality form of care. And that's fine. And you'll be actually surprised that the minute you treat others with a high quality form of care, they may not be so used to it, sadly spoken, that they may actually look at it as disrespect. And that is a very interesting result conundrum. I think I'm gonna make another video about that as well, or maybe a little side story, but that's just very interesting. So I would actually say, you know, you gauge it and then you have an understanding. But when you're treating others in a more straightforward manner and they may not understand it, then you kind of gauge the situation, but still also choosing the most optimal, the most optimum point, whatever the case, the most optimal way of conveying yourself so you don't waste time. You save time for both parties. Then you get to the point. I think you get it, right? I digress. Let's get on to the point. You know I'm long-winded. Transparency helps and save time, literally. Keep your things transparent. That's just what it is. It's nothing to expand on, nothing to expound on that point. Being transparent helps everything on a whole basis. Why? Because you know exactly how I'm coming, you know exactly what to expect, and vice versa. Because now being that I'm transparent actually gives me a little leeway so I can have understanding closer to the situation of what I'm dealing with. Why? Because a lot of people actually don't want to be transparent. A lot of people like to hide and behind a mask or behind a persona. And we all have some form of persona and personality that we use to have, you know, like a defense mechanism so people don't hurt us. But I would like to say the most biggest defense is transparency, because at the same time, you have in your other party have an expectancy of how you're coming, what you're coming with, etc. and so forth, and you're understanding my perspective. Point break period. Now, you may not understand the potential of my perspective, being to the fact that I'm so transparent. You don't understand how it could take leaps and bounds. But at the same time, for the most part, you can understand exactly where I'm at, how I'm going, and so forth. And that's the beautiful thing about it as well. When you're being so very transparent, people will feel like you're predictable and readable, but in the sense of the case, you're actually really not, because again, they're still projecting their own perspective onto you instead of actually taking things for what they are, meaning that he's transparent. So transparency always takes leaps and bounds. In fact, that you can't see transparency, you actually see through it. I'm talking to you now. Come on, I'm walking. Keep up. I'm talking to you right now. Jeez Louise. Saving time involves transparency, and saving time involves transparencies and using things that are optimal, period. Don't gotta expand on that. Optimal literally means doing something that is most efficient towards that situation or circumstance. Already got into that earlier, that's exactly what I said, come on, period. Choosing the most optimal path. That's all it's about. Literally, what is optimal? What would be the most efficient, proficient, sufficient way of getting to your desired result? Period. What would it be? Sometimes sometimes the path isn't linear. Again, I always say this, but when you can make it linear to a point, when things are happening all around, which is a beautiful thing, when now you're able to pick and see what actually applies it to kind of mold your perspective to a more desired eyesight, then it becomes more linear. Then that's when it becomes that tunnel vision. I'm talking to you now. Come on. Doing this applied to your goals will get you the most desired results, or landing somewhere near that side. You know what that's saying. You reach for the sky, you land on a star or something like that, whatever the case may be. Same kind of perspective, same difference, but you get it. I'm overextending right now. Don't beat me up. I'm overextending. It's still early, right? I do these videos on Saturday morning very early, so don't beat me up. Come on. You know, we get into it, ain't nothing to it but to do it. Refinement is such a key role to optimization. Literally. Refinement is such a key role to optimization. Why? Because you're taking whatever you worked on, whatever had some type of proven progress or proven result, and then you're refining it. You're taking out the kinks of it. You're seeing what works, you're seeing what doesn't work, and then when it doesn't, let's watch it repeat, and then you bring it back to the refinement. And then it's refinement to me has powerful word, literally to the point that I'm literally in love with that word. That's like runner up, because I love being humble. So humility would be first. Refinement would be that, because they to me, in my personal path, it went hand in hand. Being like, all right, how can I stay humble in this situation, whatever the case may be, no matter how my milestones I've received, no matter what, how can I continuously be humble and still grow optimally, still grow past my point? Refining the points of where where was I not humble at, and where can I make this a humble experience? Where can I make my perspective into a point of having humility in my situation at all times? Because when I'm humble, and when you are humble, period, you're giving more room and more area for other things to enter that are positive and also negative. But don't ever look at the negative as something bad. Look at the negative as a chance to be able to use humility and use your discernment to be able to understand, why is this negative and why is this even coming towards it? Because you're going to come to a point where humility becomes not only a defense, it becomes an offense. And not in the fact of offending, but in the fact of the matter is it's a defensive answer, to the point where now you're answering questions without having to answer them, because your state of being is already doing the answering. Point blank, period. And yeah, again, that's it. Again, this message is for the adept out there, for the master, the expert, the proficient, the efficient, the self-efficient, the one that's always doing it and never losing it, that's growing, is glowing, is going at all times. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up. And remember, speak good, do good, see good, cause when it is good, it's all good. Can you dig it? And for the haters out there that love looking at your boy, make sure you look at my good side, cause you know that I'm sexy. Do you dig what I'm saying? I think you can. Peace, love, and light. See you guys in the next video.